Part 6 of How I Married a Man That Didn't Exist. Things seemed to kind of settle down. She was still in and out slamming doors and just major attitude. I was extremely uncomfortable. I was like, maybe I should go home. Rob and his mom were very adamant that I shouldn't, that first of all, it's late, that I'm welcome there, and this is just her problem. So she goes outside and she stays in the car for a bit. Her boyfriend, however, did come out and he did speak to me, and he was very, very nice. I don't think the kids were back yet. I don't remember. I don't remember if her kids were back and they were back in that room or what. They must have been, because we did not sleep in the room that night. At this point, he has once again fallen asleep on the couch. So he and his mother and I were talking, and somehow we just got onto the subject of maybe the kids. And because I noticed, and I didn't mention this before, the girls wanted to show me their space, their room. So when I was looking the previous day, I noticed these rooms were fully done up. Like, there were beds in there, there were just a large amount of decorations, there were dressers with clothes, like, it was lived in. So I asked her how often the kids come to visit. And that's when she tells me that they don't visit. The kids live there with her. So I'm like, hold your horses, ma'am. I said, what do you mean they live here with you? They live in where, I'm not going to say the specific areas, but they live over there with him. I was FaceTiming him one night, and, the kids were fighting, and he had to break up the fight and go cook dinner and this, that, and the third. And she goes, no, the kids live with me. So I was super confused. And I was like, do they ever go up there with him? And she said they've gone up there maybe twice the entire time. I'm like, wow. Okay. So we got on the subject of her having the kids. Not only did she have custody of the kids for a long time, she has adopted them. They are legally adopted by her at this point. So we got into the conversation of how that happened. So we went back quite a while to how their mother was in active addiction. Her and Rob together were in active addiction, and that things were just getting worse. And one night their mother had the girls, and she was at a Publix, and she was having a breakdown, and she had threatened to, I don't know how to say this, I don't even know if TikTok will ban me, threatened to unalive herself. So this was obviously a very big deal. She got Baker acted, which, if you're not in Florida, that is like a psychiatric called the police or the paramedics will come get you. Normally the police, they take you to the closest psychiatric unit at a hospital. They do evaluations. They hold you for at least 72 hours. So at that point, Emily took the kids, and I'm not sure if they ever went back after that. Their mother, let's call her Jay, eventually did get out, but the active addiction got worse for both of them. So she then told me the story of how their mother, Jay, went to rehab in Miami. There was some mishap with some money. They had sent money to an aunt or a family member in Miami to send her to treatment, and the aunt never paid the rehab, so Jay could not go. Or she did go and she had to leave early. I'm still not clear on this story. There are a lot of missing pieces. At that point, Jay was at a gas station, and she was homeless at this point. I'm not sure what the barrier was to getting her back on this coast. I don't know what the issue was, but she was sleeping behind the gas station for an undisclosed amount of time, and that is when she overdosed on fentanyl and she passed away. When Rob got the call that Jay had passed away, this is according to Emily, he was devastated and distraught, and he was just not okay. Imaginably so. His wife had just passed away. So we kind of get away from that story a little bit, and we were talking about him going to prison. One thing I did not mention in the last video, when we were at the high school, I had made some kind of comment, I'm not 100% sure, but he had made sure to let me know that he had gotten a bachelor's degree in psychology when he was doing his time in prison. At that time, I did not have reason to doubt that. Can you get degrees in prison? I don't know. I was just ignorant to the way that works, and once again, at that point, why would he lie to me about something like this? Like, would be pretty extensive. So I brought that up, and his mother told me that that also was not true, that he hadn't even graduated high school. Now, if you go back to the previous video, and I started laughing when I said he took me to the high school he said he graduated from, that's why I was laughing. Because not only did you take me to this high school, you told me you graduated from it. Like, that was you drove me to a place that turned out to be false. So at this point, I am baffled. She did say after he got out of prison, he went to a 12-month faith-based sobriety program, and he stayed for about 3 months. He did not stay for the full time. He ended up meeting someone, and he left the program, and he did tell me this prior as well, that he had met this person, that she was a bit younger than him, like nothing crazy, but a bit younger than him, and he was just infatuated, and they just started off really intense, and he went to live with her. And he was never 100% clear on what happened, but he did say there was a fight. She had been doing some things that he didn't agree with. She had made some accusations against him, and she woke him up at like 4 o'clock one morning and kicked him out. He never really told me where he went after that. So, in my mind, I guess I'm assuming he went back to his home that he owns, right? So, I'm almost positive at this point, too, I asked about that as well. I said, he told me that he owns this home over here, and that he owns this vehicle and this vehicle. He showed me pictures. These are the dogs, and that he bought this home for you. She tells me once again, this is not true. None of it. He does not own that home. He does not even lease that home. He was living with the roommates, remember, K and T. That was real. Maybe not T, but K was. And that he had been rooming there. He was renting a room, is what I was told. And he would leave from there and go to work every morning. And that Emily, his mother, was renting the home that we were currently in. He had not bought a property. He had not bought a home for his mother. She was renting from landlords. So my mind is kind of spinning at this point, and let me stop right here again and say, I know you're screaming at me. I know you're saying, girl, like, why didn't you get your shit and leave right then? I don't have an answer for you. Because I had all these warm and fuzzy feelings over this weekend. I had interacted with his children. I had bonded with his mother. He had asked me to be his girlfriend. I wanted to hear his story before I made any decisions. So he ended up waking up, and I pulled him outside on the lanai, which that's a new word for me. Apparently that means porch here in Florida. And I told him, you know, your mother and I had a really good conversation, but there are some things that are concerning me. X, Y, and Z, you said, turns out not to be true, and she has confirmed that these things are not true. I need you to tell me what's going on and why you said these things to me. All right, part 7.